Top analytics or telemetry tools that people should configure, especially if they're thinking about bringing in an expert like you to help deal with the issues that they're having with their application and database performance.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's reactive and I think it's a cliche, but the crawl before you walk sort of concept. I think initially it's a reactive process from writing your application code and building your features set, attracting usage. Usually clients that come to me, they are successful, which is great. Their business is growing and they have users. And a lot of new startups, like, that's what they're fighting against initially, is just no one knows about our product. Where are our customers? Like, how do we sell to them efficiently? And all that stuff. Like, that's your first challenge to solve. But if you've reached that successful point where you have usage, then from a reactive point, the very first thing to try to get in place, in my recommendation is, or my opinion is, PG stat statements, which is a well-known, it's delivered as an extension, but it's part of core Postgres. So it's called a module. But the idea is that you have all these queries running. The idea is that it provides you visibility into what are our most resource intensive queries. Our queries like accessing and writing the most bytes of data, returning the most rows, that sort of thing. So it's really critical to say, like, where should we be spending our time? And what you can do then is you can use SQL to then query that. You enable it, it starts to capture your query statistics. And then you can use SQL to then query your own statistics. And you can say, let's look at what our most problematic queries are. That's definitely a reactive approach, though. But what you're doing is you're trying to identify where to spend your optimization efforts. And then once you've identified that, another thing I recommend is what's cool is there's a standard around this now, but there's a standard called SQL Commenter with support in a variety of frameworks and languages. Harry and I, we've looked at Python and Django. There's also support in Ruby and Rails. There's support in Go and some other languages and frameworks. And what that does then is, as your queries arrive to Postgres, before they're sent from the application, you can kind of annotate or decorate your SQL query text with information about the application. And that's going to be super helpful when you start from a reactive approach and you look at queries to know where your application code is that generated those queries.